Hollywood Brown is a top 10 wide receiver. I'm telling you right now. Top 5 running back.
You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty.
Take a lap.
Do not draft Hollywood Brown any higher than you have to. Let me repeat that.
Don't take Hollywood
In round 4, because I'm telling you he's a top 10 wide receiver. Use ADP to your advantage. If you don't, you are not maximizing value. You need to maximize value at every turn, or you can't win at fantasy football. Every pick you make needs to be a pick that you feel, okay, even if they disappoint, they can still earn this value in 2020. That's how you dominate your draft. That's how you win your league. You maximize value at every turn. Hollywood Brown is a top 10 wide receiver. I'm telling you right now. But if you DM me on Instagram or write a comment here on YouTube saying, Smitty, I took your advice, I went and drafted Hollywood Brown in the 4th round, I'm going to tell you, take a lap, take a lap.
Take a lap.
If you draft Hollywood Brown in round 6 or 7, you're protected, and he could have a disappointing year and still likely earn the value that you paid easily. Why are people down on Hollywood Brown? Let's start there. He's injury prone. He's too small. He was inconsistent last year. He's always going to be hurt. These are all problems that affect a player you're drafting in round 4 or round 5, not in round 6 or 7. That kind of worry is baked into 6th and 7th round value. Hollywood Brown can miss time and earn you your 6th or 7th round value. That's my point. That's why you draft him in round 6 in case he is injury prone. Take a look at how he kicked off his rookie year. 4 receptions, 147 and 2 TDs. The guy looked phenomenal. He backed that up with a 13 target week 2 game, 8 receptions, 86 yards. He struggled to stay healthy all year. He came out of 2019 in college with that Liz Frank injury. They took the screw out, which hampered him pretty much all of his rookie year in 2019. He's been on record saying he was rarely ever healthy. He had trouble walking in between games, and that coaching staff in Baltimore said, yeah, he wasn't healthy pretty much all year long. You could roll that into a whole bunch of concern and say, oh, I think he's going to get hurt all year long. He's never going to stay healthy.
He's too small.
Let me tell you something. Half of fantasy football is gut instinct. And when I see Hollywood Brown, I see a Steve Smith. I see an Antonio Brown. I see a guy whose footwork is like top 5 in the league right now. I see a guy that won't be able to be contained one-on-one. And I see a player that's playing in an offense that's going to be so potent, no one's going to be able to focus on double-teaming Hollywood Brown for an entire game. Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, watching and shadowing where Lamar Jackson is. Mark Andrews. And all those names shouldn't scare you. That offense is potent enough to make Hollywood Brown a top 10 to 15 wide receiver in 2020. And he'll be plenty consistent. I love drafting Hollywood as my wide receiver 2 in a fantasy football build approach where I'm waiting on my wide receiver 2, meaning I'm taking a running back. Let's say I take Zeke Elliott in round 1. Let's say I'm lucky enough to get Drake in round 2 and Mahomes at the top of round 3, or Elliott, Mahomes, and insert your favorite player, Kelsey Kittle, in round 3. Let's say you do a creative build that doesn't include you building a wide receiver 2 until later in your draft. Here's your wide receiver 2. I'm not asking anybody to march into 2020 making Hollywood Brown your wide receiver 1. What I'm telling you is Hollywood Brown might turn into a second wide receiver 1, and you have 2 to deploy into your lineup on a weekly basis, because this guy's going to turn into a wide receiver 1. 1,200 plus yards, 80 plus receptions, and give him double-digit touchdowns in 2020. He had 7 as a rookie. We're talking about a 3 TD increase for a wide receiver that was hurt all year long. In fact, let me amend my own projections. 80 plus receptions, 1,300 yards, and 12 TDs or more in 2020. I just upgraded Hollywood Brown live on my own show. That just made my earbud go out. I get the reservations, guys, but just like when I pimped Dalvin Cook all off-season long last year, I mean, I beat a dead horse on Dalvin Cook over and over and over. And you're about to hear me do that with Hollywood Brown, because I'm that excited about 2020, and I feel like people don't realize he's not a wide receiver 2. People trapped in a late ADP, 6th to 7th round ADP. He's a wide receiver 1 trapped in that ADP. This is the kind of guy that's going to open the door to trade, so you can trade your wide receiver 1 away if let's say your running backs get hit with injury. This is a league winner at 6th or 7th round value. The crazy part is I feel like the writing's on the wall to me. I don't know why other people aren't super pumped about him. And while we will find people that will support this video in the comments, more times than not, I'd say on the side of 60 or 70% of the time, I'm going to get pushback on calling him a breakout, even though he's costing you a 6th or 7th round draft pick. I sidetracked. I was trying to tell you, I had Dalvin Cook in my top 5 running backs heading into 2020. And all I heard from people was,
Smitty, he's a big risk at top 5 value.
And I'd have to continuously repeat myself and say, hey, Jim from accounting, don't worry, he's going at 18 or 20 overall. Why are you bringing up a top 5 draft slot when his ADP is 18 to 22? And Jim or Bob from accounting, whatever name I gave him, will continue to say, I'm not investing. If he gets hurt, I'm going to get screwed. Not understanding that the value has dropped so far that the risk is all baked in. If he disappoints you, he earns his 6th, 7th round value back. If I was talking Hollywood Brown up as a wide receiver 1 where you have to draft him at wide receiver 1, I would be more open to the negativity on this prediction. But what's hilarious is that I'm saying he's a top 10 wide receiver. Draft him in round 6 or 7. If I'm wrong, you're still going to get your value back. You're still getting a 1,000-yard wide receiver. Even worst case scenario, he gets hurt, he gets you 908 TDs. You're getting your value back. Why is there resistance to drafting Hollywood in round 6 or 7 with the potential that this guy has top 10 wide receiver upside? Believe. This is that one wide receiver call that I have every year. The one that's embedded in the deep round, mid-round range that's going to explode into value no one even sees coming. Hollywood Brown, get him in all your leagues. Trade for him in existing dynasty leagues on the cheap. While he still has 6th to 7th round type value and his redraft value and dynasty value are not far apart, trade for him in existing leagues. Do it now. And if you play him best ball, get excited because his value is going to stay low for a long time. Get as many teams drafted now while you can grab this guy in round 6, round 7, and you're going to benefit tremendously from this pick now in your early best ball drafts. Lamar to Hollywood. Get ready for a whole bunch of it in 2020. Subscribe, follow, tell your friends. And get on over to sleeperu.com for more bold predictions, rankings, all the info and rankings and tools you need to dominate in 2020. Top 5 running backs.
You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty.